hardly, what am I looking for?
Sorry.
So,
Sorry.
look something up online.
There's your candy partner.
A nice briar.
Closes up at 6.
I think that's why we picked 6:15.
It is what it's hoping.
Is there an extra chair there?
There is. I don't know what to do.
Here, give it to me.
You were a kid.
Yeah. Well, my friend, I don't know, Sean Boyd. He's worked there. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So he worked there, and my friend couldn't work there also. They used to do the Sunday shift.
Yeah, but I did the Sunday shift when I was a young kid.
Here she comes us here in the parking lot.
And I'm not gonna say that that's when all the young guys came in to steal the food. I'm not gonna say that.
No, never.
It is what it is.
Rusty, this sounds like two confessions.
I don't know.
I just was one to look the other way. Man, some things you can't hear.
We're just waiting for Laura. She was in the parking lot. I just saw her.
Yeah, she's parking her bike. I think she's parking her bike.
Her bike?
Looked like she come in on her bike.
She came up.
Secure that.
I mean, you never know around here. Jeff keeps some pretty crazy company.
Yeah, what the happened? Where did that go? But yeah, just all went away.
Vince, you had a cigar this afternoon?
I have a cigar.
I know you do. So would I if my doctor would permit it.
Mine doesn't, but
I'm down to a couple times a week. I used to smoke almost every day. A cigar, not cigarettes. I'm not a degenerate.
a couple of friends that keep bringing me boxes of Cubans from the Dominican Republic.
I mean, are you gonna be rude and say no?
What am I gonna say? No. So a free box,
And then it would be a shame to waste it.
free box of Cubans? Give me bread. Supposedly.
Not a huge fan of cigars.
Dominican Republic.
Almost anybody that buys a box in the Dominican on the beach or someplace else.
Are they fake?
Yeah, they're walking down the beach.
Dominican cigar is a pretty good cigar.
Those are excellent. They're top notch. They're walking down the beach with a box of cohibas.
Well, that's right.
For $50. Well, they're $500. And they're never $50.
They're not $500.
Yeah.
You can get them in Canada for $3.50.
$3.50? Probably not.
Yeah,
$25
per box.
$20 a cigar. Probably not that low.
Yeah, I can. I do it all the time.
I believe it. I believe it.
All right, should we bang the hammer?
Yes.
All right, everybody rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public hearing. You gonna do your birthday, right?
No. Unless you want?
Can I do a birthday?
Yes, you may.
Yeah.
I would like us to take a moment of silence for John Schaefer, ex-mayor of Owego many years, ex-everything in Owego Library, just a fabulous citizen, passed away last week. So we appreciate a moment of silence for passing of John. Thank you.
So, first on the agenda is the public hearing for the rezoning, tax map number 128.16-1-8 from R3 to industrial. So, if you want to speak, just stand up or whatever, say your name and we'll hear what you have to say. Yep.
Yeah, sure. So, my name is Phil Gromit. I'm an attorney from Levine, Gordon, and Thompson. I represent the three sisters that own the property that is the subject of this zoning change. That's Catherine, Candace, and Marcy. Michael's also here. That's Catherine's husband. Just, I guess, a point of clarity, and I'm sure everyone on the board is aware of this. This zoning change is not being requested by Catherine, Darcy, and Candace, this zoning change has been put forth by the board through a motion by Mr. Fuller. Nonetheless, we are obviously very supportive of this zoning change from R3 to I. And I guess I can, is everyone aware of where the property is on the zoning map? The reason we're supportive of this is because of the change in the future change in the immediate area as a result of the growth and expansion of this illegal village sewage treatment facility. We sympathize with the village. We understand the environmental mandates and requirements, the need to make changes there and improvements. But this summer, I'm sure you know this, I'm just stating this maybe for the public record, there's going to be a septic receiving station built immediately adjacent to this parcel. And just put on the record, septic receiving station is, people may use different words, but it's an open air pit where waste from septic facilities from around the neighborhood, from around the area, homeowners, businesses, it's where waste from septic tanks is going to be brought and put into this pit before the street. Needless to say, this is going to be a very smelly and disruptive operation for the owners of this parcel. Something we've noted in that letter there is that if this were, we recognize the village is from its zoning, but if this were a private facility, the VC rules and regulations that are out there would require 400, depending on how you look at it, but a large setback from the boundary line, which would basically make this not possible on the small square footage that the village owns. We understand your temperament, but those setback requirements demonstrate, the obstructive and smelly and disruptive nature of what's going to happen. And this is going to be right on the boundary line. I understand maybe 6 feet away. The result is I think the objective was for the evaluation of a property. We understand why the village is doing it. But really at its core, under its current zoning as R3, given this project that's going to happen, we will have no potential for any development of this property, any potential use under R3. You can't build a house next to a septic receiving station. This change, and I guess just would also add that the change to industrial that we're asking for is a little bit of a misnomer. Industrial doesn't mean, a large, high-intensive manufacturing per the village code. It's the most flexible zoning allowed in WEGO. That's why we're requesting it, so we have more options. The zoning itself, industrial, has uses that are prohibited, the uses that are particular nuisances that the code is not just, the zoning, a change to industrial is not a change to allow anything to happen. It's really just light manufacturing. There's uses that are clearly prohibited, uses that will be required to have a special permit for. So I'm sure everyone's aware of it, but I encourage you to review that so that, because when you say industrial, obviously that's a little scary to some people, but it's not just a change that's going to allow any sort of high-intensive industrial use. This change to industrial is in line, it fits with the character of many adjacent properties. Right across from the highway is the majority of this treatment facility. That parcel is zoned industrial. We're asking to a change, so it's going to be in common with that parcel. There's a trucking operation down the street to the west. There's an auto dealer across the street. It's not residential. There's only 2 residential parcels across a very small portion of this parcel. I'd also add that this parcel used to be industrial at one point in time. It's now going back to being R3. We're asking to go back to what it was before. And just to be clear, we don't have any development plans. But obviously, some very obvious reasons it would be very hard to develop this parcel. But we want the potential to develop something. We want the ability to bring something to the village that can increase the tax base. And I expect that at least one neighbor's going to be here that's concerned about this. And I just want to stress to everyone that there is when we hopefully find some potential development for the parcel, there will need to be site plan review. That will have to go to the planning board. And the planning board, per the section 195-139, has broad authority to dictate conditions on the granting of the site plan and the proceeding of any development. They can require visual buffers, landscaping. They have to consider the fact that there's residential parcels next to it. There is a whole host of conditions that they can use to address the concerns of the two residential parcels basically across the street. I guess just in conclusion, I guess I would just say I want to make certain that we put a few items here in the record. We have a letter here. I guess I'll give it to you here. This is a letter from Mr. Yeaman, who owns the auto dealership.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Across the street. He is supportive of this. So not everyone, across the street is against this. And I'll just, I guess, end by stressing that the planning board has recommended the zoning change. The county has is in support of this zoning change for the second time. And we're just asking the board to follow those recommendations and allow us to have some use of our property. So, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else? You're good? Okay. Anybody else have comments? Bobby?
Hi, my name is Robert McConnell. I'm the owner of one of the said parcels directly across the street. One of the well, I know there's over 10 because I have 10 people within 1,000 feet of this parcel. They're all considerably uphill with it. As you can see from the topographic map behind me, fire shoulder there. This parcel was industrial for, I believe it was less than a month. At that time, the current then planning board and county board deemed that it was misunderstood by them, and they reverted their decision. That's how it was industrial, and it was not. Originally, it was an R2. I do have a petition signed by those people that I'd like to give to the board.
Okay.
I will admit that I feel for the landowner, and it's appalling that the village would put an open pit with human waste and other sewage products directly next to anybody's land without any setback, any mitigation plans for the nuisances, I'll call them, and the vector attractment that comes with that kind of process. I don't know the scope of the sewer plans. However, there is by sounds of it, a similar type operation going on currently directly across the street. And I believe that is very close to privately owned land. I do not know the arrangement that the village made at the time we put that receiving tank in. Although I'm in support of site plan review, and I understand that it does give more flexibility in zoning and allow for better land use of how to place things. It does allow the planning board saying things, but I don't have a law degree, but to my understanding, the planning board can say, no, you need to do this. I do not know the appeals process from what I've heard in New York State. It opens the new or current owner that wants to develop on a property that they bought for said uses that are allowed in the code to disagree with the planning board and go to the Supreme Court and see how they feel about it and see if they get it overridden. So I'm concerned about the village opening itself up to some valuable property, and under the impression of, as I'm sure there's some of you know, some of you may not, the other things that are listed under I in business commercial zoning as offensive as a rail yard. They can leave trains run 24/7 on a rail yard. That's not something I want to be right above. And very close to the water table that's on the property. Also, the R3, I feel, is sort of being touted up as no one's going to want to put a house here. R3 does also allow 2 family business and professional offices, 3 or more family homes, lodging and tourist houses. I believe it was R3 that was requested to do a small private housing development on the south side of Toledo shortly ago. There is more uses that are allowed by special permit. And again, site plan review playing into those. And I also, from what I understand, the site plan review process, although it does give input from the village, and current village law allows the public to be involved, notified, and have a say in that process, I do not believe that's guaranteed by New York state law. So any said board could change that. Nobody would probably really notice what was going on or know what it meant to them at the time, leaving it open to a handful of people that may or may not understand what's proposed, what's going on, and oh, it's there. We want more setback. Oh, you already told me to do it. You can't change it. It leaves very little actual control, and I believe it takes a large portion of the public and interested surrounding communities right to have input on projects. So I don't know what the answer is, but myself and I didn't contact everyone because of limited time, and I've tried to talk to several board members and planning board members, and that has been extremely difficult in most cases. Several times I've left work early. Things happen. I understand that. Again, public can't talk to the people that are making these decisions and let their voices be heard. That's my main concern with, the site plan review. If that wasn't open to the public, we would have nothing. I don't know who to...
Could you give that to me?
Now, in full disclosure and honesty, there's a name on here. I am unable to identify which one it is. It probably should not be on here, because even though this same petition for a previous attempt at rezoning was signed by a very nearby landowner, they were out on vacation and they freely signed it. I said, you don't have to if you're not comfortable, but I don't feel it's probably a representative signature. I can find out who it is. It was Joey and stuff, which obviously she was on the business, and I said, I'll come back and see him later. She doesn't sign for it. So there's one name on here that I would just remove, but I don't want to remove it incorrectly.
Is that the current petition?
I'm sorry, what?
That is the current
Yes.
petition?
I understand there still is, right in the village zoning, restrictions on I don't feel that there's very much restriction, and it would be pretty easily for an industry that buys, or industry business, anything that buys a parcel to go, well, we bought it thinking we could do this. And I don't see where the planning board or the board of trustees would have any legal standing to say, well, we don't want that business here. You might be able to affect how they do it within reason. What's within reason, that's for the planning board and then the new owner to sort out. That can be very difficult. As far as one more thing.
We're gonna need to make a determination as to the number of adjacent parcels and who signed that and...
Right. There needs, the clerk's office and possibly the assessor need to review the signatures and the identified tax map parcel numbers to determine if appropriate protest petitions
I'd be more than willing to help with that as well. And I understand the process needs to be done. Those signatures represent from 80 South Side to the corner of Montrose and South Side, up around the Horseshoe to the end of Knopf. There's the Nature Conservancy land, the Homestead House up on that land. they're all roughly 1,000. I
Directly opposite.
aerial map, surveyed it out. Google Maps, it's
Or immediately
pretty
adjacent.
adjacent. If you stand over there on any of those
You go 100
properties,
feet from
they're
the
about
edge
100
of the
feet
property.
probably above this property that sits down in
100. 100.
I was somewhere before that came.
100 feet?
100 feet, yeah. So, again, so
The
Rod's
biggest
office would have to
concern is
review.
the-
Yeah. It's
Not,
really
oh, there's only so many things that you can do, and I think it's the most flexible because it's the most.
We'll look at it. Who else here?
Excuse me, folks, Bob's
They do,
supposed to be.
they do.
Thank you.
They own that too.
The thing that concerns us is how offensive is a rail yard, a forgery, or forging works. Not exactly something that's, most people want to have owned property for several years and put money into properties, and now you have a forge place across the street. And there's limitations, boiler making, things that are possibly explosive, ammonia manufacturer, I believe. There isn't very much listed, and I understand site plan review would play into that, but I'm not confident somebody would determine what's less offensive than the stuff in there that I've been around. I don't think anybody should live by some of those things. Some of them are okay, and I've also seen properties within this village that are much smaller than this 8 acres, that no one should be drinking water anywhere near, that they're pulling out of the ground, and I'm not sure how they are getting away with doing what they're doing on those properties, but that's not for me to decide, that's for code enforcement. I understand that. Some of those were recently changed to industrial, they're not long-term uses that are grandfathered in.
Thank you. Anybody else?
If I may speak.
Sure.
I'm not already wife of Patrick, one of the owners. I think that to accept this gentleman's argument, you would have to say that the presence of the septic receivers facility would be in the same circumstance as the offensiveness that he speaks to, and that to move forward with what perhaps is inevitable due to what the village has to do with the treatment plant and its desire and necessity and the benefit of the septic receiving facility as an important objective, cannot throw out the land use of the 8-acre property, and that must be put into perspective, that there must be a productive use, and with the protections of the 185, 139, planning reviews by the planning board, and the conditions that are, the options that they have, that those protections can be put in there, and that the use of the 8 acres that must be permitted to exist and have the rights of the private property ownership, together with the inevitability of the septic receiver, which there's going to have to be an act of faith by the village residents that the village government will do the right thing and apply the balances and weighs the benefits, and to also give us the use of the 8 acres that is consistent and workable with the existence of the septic receiving facility.
Thank you. Now, I do have a question for Tracy. Is it an open pit or is it?
No.
No, that's what I didn't think.
No, the trucks are gonna couple right directly to the building with a hose going into the building. It's-
Right. So that's a little bit better.
It shows a pit on the drawing.
I think it's a building.
It's a cover, there's a covered tank there, there's no pit there.
The planning board was under the assumption I was a pit also.
There's a drawing that was on the village records that appears that the trucks would come up to what is a pit, and that there would be discharge into that pit, and that pit is outside.
No. Trucks are gonna come in and couple a pipe to the building. It's gonna go in through a bar screen into a 10,000 gallon tank, and then from there be pumped under the highway into the facility. It's all enclosed. Nothing's open here.
We gave that appearance, all right, from the drawing. When they uncouple the piping, is there a spillage?
There's a small containment thing there if there is any kind of spillage, but it should be minimal because the pipe is graded into the building, so.
All right, so this would then be wouldn't that portion of that be unenclosed?
That portion would be correct.
And this is the DEC guideline for the receiving facilities, does specify a setback for an unenclosed operation. And granted, that is that DEC standard for septic receiving or for waste treatment facility. It's a recommendation. If you are a municipally owned operation, which you are, had it been private, it would have been a required setback. And certainly in the discussions with DEC in Portland, it's permitted, and also DEC in Syracuse, they did, as far as the technical aspects of the plant and the receiving facility. Number one, they're surprised that it's a remote receiving facility, and yes, it should be, the septic receiving facility should be considered a wastewater treatment plant with regards to any setbacks or any environmental protections of adjacent properties.
We were not trying to mislead the board. I think the nature of the activities is pretty clear.
Yes.
I don't get more descriptive.
Sewage receiving either way, I was just trying to...
Use another word.
So any more for the public hearing? Bobby?
I was able to figure out which name is on there.
Oh,
It
okay.
should not be, and I'd like to sign it in front of somebody here, that's what I meant.
Sure.
I can do that afterwards.
You can do it, you want
Yeah, you
to
can.
just initial it, or?
Sorry.
That's fine. Just initial.
The last name, this one is this one.
Just initial it.
I'm not the person to speak for them, but I don't think that
You
they...
initial and I'll initial. It should be off. We want it off, is that what you're saying?
This name here is Jocelyn.
Okay.
She's the daughter of Joey Jones.
I'll just take that one right up here. I'll wait for number 10, I'll just-
8?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else for the public hearing? You guys have anything else?
Just a clarification that, so it's not possible to vote today because of the notice? I'm not trying to figure out how they're out, it's just, because I know that you anticipated 2:39, we were coming back a little later, that's,
So we did get,
I'm just asking because I know my clients would like to attend the meeting and the 20th is an issue, but we can
Right.
work our way through that.
we did get a letter from the county that waived the 239 review because they unanimously approved it the last time. So the letter says there's no physical changes on the said property or on the purpose of rezoning to industrial since that initial referral. The Tioga County Planning Board recommended approval from 2010 still stands. So it's consequently, there's no need for the Tioga County Planning Board to make a duplicate recommendation in this case.
So Mayor, so aside from the 239 issue, because the protest petition's been filed, then the board shouldn't take action tonight. Does need to review to determine really what the voting threshold requirement would be and whether that's a valid protest petition or not.
I'll speak to this after the public hearing is closed.
So we'll close if anybody doesn't have anything else for the public hearing, close the public hearing and then have a little discussion on it. All right, let's close it.
Mr. Mayor?
Yep, Rusty?
So Nate, the purpose of checking the petition is to see whether we require supermajority or not.
We're at a 3/4 vote of the board,
6 out of 7.
which I think is 6 out of 7, right?
Yes, we went through that last time.
So a super majority.
Basically everybody.
If a motion were to garner that supermajority, would that not render that point moot though?
It could, if if everyone tonight was unanimously in favor of it. The other piece that we don't have back, and Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the DOT is meeting tomorrow to review the petition. I don't necessarily think we have a requirement, I don't think that you have a procedural requirement to wait like you do for the 239 review, but certainly it's not a bad idea to get state DOT's opinion before taking action as well. just something to consider.
Okay,
I have another question.
sure.
If we were to take a vote tonight and we did not achieve the supermajority, what would be the procedure for another time with different board members here for a supermajority?
You've held the public hearing. I think you could have someone basically table it effectively until the next meeting, or seek to reopen a vote on the matter at the next meeting. Presumably at that point, Charles will be there, and if the vote fails by only one vote tonight, then at the next meeting, there could be a supermajority like that available.
We could choose to take a vote tonight. If it failed, we could take a vote in 2 weeks.
Right.
Okay. Sums up, okay.
And the other piece of this is, as I mentioned, I'm fine giving you some procedural guidance on this, but my office does represent the Noblettes in another unrelated matter, albeit, but currently representing them, so I can't give you substantive legal opinions as to whether this is effectively a good idea or a bad idea, let's say. And Ms. Campbell from HH&K, I think, has been
Yeah, we'd have to have Sarah Grace come back, yeah.
Right. So, I've reached out to see if she could make the May 20th meeting. I don't know, I don't have final confirmation from her that she's available to do that, but you guys do need to walk through seeker, and I don't know really the length or extent of the discussion that you folks might have about this issue.
Could I quickly ask a question about the seeker? Would a seeker from 2015, the last time this was done, apply now?
I'd have to, I mean, there's a few issues that I would identify with that. One, that's 4 years ago. We would need to be really certain that nothing's substantively changed in the area that would somehow justify you to rely on a seeker that old. I would always recommend my client do it again.
Okay.
With those procedures and advice being given, I make a motion that we change the zoning from, on this particular piece of property, I'll state the number by the way, from R3 to industrial.
I'll second it.
Okay.
To be clear, are you indicating you're relying on the seeker that was done previously?
Don't we do the seeker after the motion?
Well, you're gonna have to do it at some point. I mean, before you vote to rezone, you need to go through seeker.
Right, so we need to do it now if we're gonna do it.
Right. You can't take final action without having done seeker.
Is this the short form seeker or the two-arm seeker?
I believe it's the short form seeker.
It is.
So do I move that before I make this motion? How's this work?
No, I think with a motion, we need to fill that out, right?
Yeah, if you're gonna do seeker tonight, then you need to review part 2 of the seeker form. Ask yourself, no to small impact or moderate to large impact on the 11 questions, and
Does anybody have that?
I did not bring a copy of it with me.
I have the internet, can you find it?
I would propose that we hold off on voting for either the next meeting or the meeting after, so that we can clarify this petition and have all of our facts together.
Frank, I understand that, but the petition, we will have to have the supermajority. The petition will not, the signatures don't have to be verified if we have the supermajority.
How are you supposed to?
So that's not.
What should you Google for it? Do NYS SEQURA. Short
Is that
form.
there?
Part 2.
The purpose of the petition, as far as the legality goes, is that assuming that the properties within 100 feet, 20% of them are signing petition and protest, then we have to have a supermajority. If you have a supermajority, we don't have to verify the signatures on our petition before we will have done what we're supposed to do with the supermajority. Was there, just for that particular objection, was there another objection? I wasn't understanding.
The seeker.
So I found the seeker form. I'm just gonna have to read the questions and then we'll have to answer them, to go through them, since there's a motion to change the zoning. Yes?
I just want to make sure that Fran is comfortable with
understand what you're saying, yeah.
I'm comfortable with what I'm saying, yeah. Okay.
I just don't have the ability to print it out because my
All right.
computer doesn't work with this printer or something.
Maybe.
So I have to read them all.
All right, you write down the answers here. All right, so the first question is, will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulations? And the answers are no or small impact or moderate to large impact. Those are the two choices.
Well, we've got a sewage treatment plant there now, and it's undeveloped land, so.
Right. So no for number one.
You say no?
Second question, will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of the use of land? I wrote oddly. So,
Well, we're already receiving septage there, aren't we?
well, across the street.
Across the street, right.
Next to,
So,
I don't think so.
Receiving waste products there.
well, and this is just the change of the zoning from
Yeah.
R3 to industrial, so
Right. I don't think it does.
it'll be a no. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community?
It's already sewer.
Right.
Okay,
No.
obviously no, okay. Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that caused the establishment of a critical environmental area, CEA? No. Well, there's like none of those in the village, right?
I don't know, man.
Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect infrastructure for mass transit